If you can dream it, we can plan it. Oh, where do you want to go? Just let me know. Magic moments, far off oceans. We're chasing sunsets, chasing hope. Pack your bags, we'll handle the rest. With dreams and destinations, we're chasing the best. Your imagination, our inspiration. We'll take you coast to coast, no hesitation. Like dreams and destinations. Oh, oh.
Hello and welcome to Dreams and Destinations, a travel podcast brought to you by the agents of A Dream and a Wish Travel Co. I'm your host, Ashlyn, aka the Duchess of Disney, joined by our other fabulous host, Travel Wiz Liz.
Ooh, hey everyone. I love that intro.
Was that fun?
Yeah, that was good. I love it. I love it.
You are a travel whiz, Liz.
No, there's a lot of travel. I go to Minnesota on Thursday, so by the time you're hearing this, I'll be on a plane.
I will be in Corpus Christi on Thursday. I leave tomorrow morning. And I am not packed, even a little bit. Not
No.
even a little bit.
I thought about laundry once, but then I thought about other things.
Laundry's the worst part of packing.
Oh my God, it's so awful.
It's the worst.
I hate washing it. I hate folding it. There's no step of laundry where I'm like, you know what? This isn't so bad. It all is terrible.
It's all terrible. It's the worst part.
Well, luckily, most of my travel for volleyball is like the same 5 outfits, and I don't really change it. Like I used to try to come up with all these cute new ways to wear my volleyball uniform, and then I'm like, no, you know what? Forget it. I'm bringing these 3 shirts, bringing these hoodies, and that's it. But now I have to pack a coat because we're going north. That's cold.
Oh no, you poor thing. I do not envy you for that.
I don't like the cold, so
No, neither do I. That's why we both live in the South, girl.
we migrated.
We did. We both fled from Michigan.
We said never again will we be stuck in the cold. So here we are. But I am super excited for today's episode, though.
I am too. Today's episode, we are exploring the joys and the challenges of traveling with kiddos. We'll share tips for making family travel smoother and more enjoyable for everyone involved, from packing smart to navigating travel days and keeping little travelers happy along the way. We're covering practical advice that can help turn stress into wonderful memories. And we have a very special guest joining us today.
Yay!
Our fellow travel agent, Haley, is going to be on the show. Homegirl is a professional when it comes to traveling with kids. She is all over the place with her kids. So we are so very thrilled to introduce you to her later on in the show.
And like, not only does she all over with her kids, she does it by herself. Just her with her 2 kids. I'm like speechless because I struggle with my 1 and she does it with 2, and she's a beast.
It is impressive. It is impressive. And listen, yeah, we're really excited.
Excited.
I have done many tips with, my nieces and goddaughters and other family and friends with their kids. And of course, I plan travel for families with children, but I don't have any kiddos of my own yet. So I'm super stoked to have Haley here and to just listen to the 2 of you share all of your secrets about making travel easier with kids. I am basically just here to moderate today, and just soak it all in and learn right along with our audience. Because let me tell you what, Liz and Haley, they know what they're talking about. You guys are literal geniuses when it comes to traveling with kids. So this is going to be like a master class.
Well, thank you.
So I know you've done a metric ton of traveling with your daughter, just a ton of traveling. So I guess the first question I have for you is it really as daunting as people make it out to be, or as people think it is?
So I started traveling just out of necessity with my daughter when she was 5. She wasn't quite 5 weeks old. She was about 4.5 weeks old. Shocker. I was going on a volleyball trip. And because she was so little, she had to come with me. There was not a choice. You know, I was still breastfeeding her. She didn't do bottles. Like, there was no choice. She had to come, you know, so we took our first flight together. She was 4.5 weeks old, and we flew on a 3-hour flight to Minnesota. And it was daunting is the most perfect word, that first trip, because I mean, I must have bought every accessory ever that anyone has ever made for traveling with a baby. Like, I bought like special bags. I bought like special, you know, like toys for the plane. I brought everything I could. And, you know, I was like, I'm ready for this. I can do it, you know. And the first time we ever traveled, we got to the airport and there was like a 2-hour wait to check in. And some airlines, when you travel with an infant, they make you sit in this line and like confirm all the details with the desk. So I'm already like on edge because I was traveling alone, just me and Quinn. And it was stressful. I was glad I was prepared for it, but there was a lot of things that after that first flight, I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. You just have to experience it, you know? So since that day, she just turned 3 and she has been on 42 flights, including 2 transatlantic flights. She has flown all across the country. Girl is a queen of travel at this point. And, you know, it can be daunting. And a lot of my family and friends and people who have kids, they all tell me that, I just can't believe you travel with her so young. And first of all, I'm going to let you in on a secret, all of you new moms out there who have young babies. There is no easier time to travel with your child than when they're in that 0 to 12-month age, because all they do is sleep the entire time. She fell asleep on takeoff because you are basically traveling in a giant white noise machine. And so she just conked out from the second the plane got in the air. And I mean, she slept the whole time. Fast forward in that like 1 to 2 year range, when we were still doing the infant in lap to save money, and it definitely got a lot harder, especially flying overseas. Definitely got a little harder. You have to be a little more prepared to keep them entertained more than anything and keep them happy as far as like food goes. If you start young, by the time you've kind of developed a routine, you know, when she goes to our home airport, she knows exactly where to go. It's hysterical. We have this big, I don't know if you have ever followed Tampa Airport, which if you want a absolutely hilarious Instagram to follow Tampa Airport. They know what they're doing. It's hysterical. But there's like this giant statue of a flamingo in the main lobby when you walk in. And she knows, yeah, we're going to go upstairs. We're going to see Phoebe, which is the flamingo. We're going to see Phoebe. And then we're going to go on the train to our airplane. She's 3 and she knows this just because she's gotten so comfortable with traveling. She understands like the act of traveling, what it involves, that she's going to be sitting quietly for some time. She might get to watch her tablet. She might get this, she might get that. So the first one is daunting no matter what. But once you get past that first one, you realize it's not so bad. It's an easy, simple thing as long as you go in very prepared. So, you know, and the same thing goes with hotels. She knows the routine in the hotels. Like whenever we go to Disney or we go to volleyball or whatever, wherever we go, we always call it our house. So if we're at Disney, hey guys, we got to go to our Disney house, and we go to our Disney house. Which, fun fact, if you stay at a really nice resort and then you stay at a value resort,
does Quinny know the difference now?
Yep. And she'll always ask, Mommy, can we go to the other Disney house? I don't like this Disney house. And I go, oh, great. What have I done? So
you've ruined value resorts.
I have ruined them. It's my own fault. But you know, there's just a lot of perks to traveling early with your kids, because, you know, a lot of times airlines, hotels, things like that, they don't charge for these kids. Like they don't count them as a party member in your hotel until they hit 3. So you can have that extra kid almost every hotel has a pack and play or something like that. So you're not carrying all this gear with you. Another thing I didn't learn until like my third trip with her. So it's can be daunting, but there's just so many advantages to when they're little, teaching them to travel early. It's as much as like having them understand the rules of travel and how to follow different travel etiquette and things like that. My daughter's experienced French culture at a very young age. She's seen how different people and different places are. So having that experience early in life, like a lot of us don't have those kind of experiences until we're adults. And so if you're able to travel with your kids earlier and give them that insight to different cultures, like I say, why not? You know, it is not a terrifying escapade. Escapade. It has its moments. Like I will never forget times I've traveled with her where she laid down face first in the airport, kicking and screaming because she didn't want to get in her stroller. And I said, okay. And I just kind of let her sit there and throw a tantrum. So why not start it early? Get them used to it. Especially if you're a family that travels, travel early. Why not?
It's such a gift to give to your kid too, to make sure that they learn at an early age the ins and outs of traveling so that they're adept at traveling and they can continue that their whole lives. It's never going to be a daunting thing to them when they reach the point where they can start traveling by themselves.
So my question to you, since you don't have kids,
Yes.
how do you think the travel industry has changed as far as how other travelers view families and kids traveling?
Yeah, I think the travel industry today is just broadly more kid friendly and geared towards families than it used to be, 50 years ago, or even when we were kids, Liz, 30 some odd years ago. Oh, I aged us. Sorry. But 30 years ago, it was a different world and people were very cranky about kids being on planes. And a lot of people wouldn't even dream of taking their kids on what we would consider a fancier trip or vacations out of the country. Like that just wasn't a thing. People didn't do that. And of course you had your token spring break trip for the kids or a road trip or camping. I don't even know that I consider camping a vacation.
It was when we were kids.
But yeah, most of the travel experiences were largely designed specifically for adults. And today, that's just totally different because the travel industry has shifted gears to be far more family oriented. There's a whole segment of the travel industry that is specifically dedicated to children. And, we're very Disney centric on this show. And in many ways, Disney has pioneered that. They've proven over and over again that travel can be centered around family friendly experiences and still be relaxing and still be luxurious. A trip with kids doesn't have to be this chaotic whirlwind, and you don't have to cut corners or forego those higher end things simply because the kids are in tow. And the entire travel industry has really taken a page out of Disney's playbook here. So now many cruise lines, luxury resorts, even all inclusives, they have kids clubs now, and they have the family suites. And they have entertainment and activities that are, for all ages. So the industry, as a whole has really recognized the value in multi-generational travel and the growing demand for family vacation experiences and family reunions. As travel agents, we see family reunions now all the time. That is such a big thing. They're not just at the local park anymore. People are doing huge reunions at Disney World or on cruises or wherever. So today's travel is definitely, it's far more not just kid friendly, but kid inclusive. And as a result of that, you now have people, most everybody, in fact, they're just used to flying with kids and having babies on airplanes and having kids run around their fancy hotel. People are used to that now. And I think you touched on this just earlier in this episode, that the fear for a lot of parents and people who are traveling with kids is that they are going to make other people uncomfortable or annoyed because they have kids with them. But that's just really simply not the case anymore. I mean, you're still going to get the odd duck, that random dude in business class who's just going to be a jerk no matter what, because I mean, those people exist. They just don't like kids. So there's nothing you can do about that. Those people exist. But for the most part, the large majority of people could care less if you have a baby on a plane. And if anything, people are going to have empathy for you if your kid is crying or gets fussy while they're flying. So put that to bed right now. Put those fears to rest.
Yes.
The world is not angry at you because you have your infant on an airplane, or because your kid is crying at a restaurant, or they're running through the lobby of a hotel. People are so used to that now. So I think, the travel industry has really made strides in including children and family-friendly travel in the conversation. And as a result of that, people are just used to having kids around in all of these travel venues.
So we're going to take a quick break and get Haley on here. Yay! And then you guys can hear all from her about her amazing tips and tricks for traveling with littles.
Yes. Liz and I are thrilled, and that is an understatement, to be joined by Haley Glass, one of our fellow travel agents with A Dream and a Wish Travel Co. Haley is a New Jersey-based mama of two who is not only a wonderful travel agent, but is very well versed in traveling with little ones. She's an absolute pro. And like Liz said earlier, she often travels solo with her kiddos, which is just rock star. So welcome, Haley. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, and let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Hi, I'm Haley. You can find me on Instagram at Wanderlust and Pixie Dust, with also little dots in between. I live in New Jersey. I have two kids. They're 5 and 3. We like to travel. I don't let anything stop me. I just get up and I go. We go to Disney a lot. We like to do a couple beach vacations every now and again. So yeah.
We're so happy you're here. You should have heard us earlier. We were really hyping you up, just so you know.
My favorite hype woman.
You'll hear when the podcast airs. But yeah. So let's start by chatting about preparation before travel. Haley, how can parents prepare their kids for a trip even before they leave home?
One of my favorite things to prep, like before we go to Disney World specifically, is ride POV videos on YouTube, especially for if you're nervous if your kids are going to like the rides or not, or especially if you haven't been on the rides yourself, you don't really know what to expect either. So watching a ride POV video, it kind of lets everybody know what to expect, if it's a ride they're going to want to ride, if they'll find it scary or too loud. So that's one of the things we do before the trip to get ready. I also like doing countdowns to help us visualize when the trip's getting closer, because my kids are little and telling 10 days or 5 days, they don't really understand. But when they can see a visual countdown of we like to do a paper link chain, and when it gets shorter and shorter, they're like, oh, okay, it's getting closer. And that kind of prevents the when are we going? When are we going?
I think having that countdown too, just helps them get so excited for the trip that, any of those fears or anxieties that they have about traveling, because they're little, that kind of takes it all away, because the excitement really outweighs the anxiety of it all. So we do a lot more last minute trips, but it's still, oh, we're going to Disney this weekend. Oh, is it weekend yet? So we kind of, we do similar things too, just to get them hyped for the trip rather than anxious or, nervous about it, because they're just so excited.
Yeah. And Haley, you mentioned the POVs of all of the rides at Disney World. I just actually did something similar with my nieces. We're going to Florida, but we're going to the beach. and they have never been to a real beach before. They're teeny tiny. So we went out to lunch the other day, and I was showing them videos of the beach, and they were like so stoked. Videos of dolphins jumping and everything. So I pray we see a dolphin on this trip because they're going to be so disappointed otherwise. Okay, so we've left the house. We need to make sure that we have all of the right gear with us. We're road tripping, or we're at the airport, airplane, Disney World, we're at our hotel, wherever we may be. Liz, what are some must-pack items that make traveling with kids easier or less stressful, specifically for babies and toddlers? What's some of your must-have travel gear?
So my number one, and I think Haley will back me on this too, my number one must-have item, I don't care if your kid is 5 or 6, bring a stroller. I have worked with clients, I have family members that, once their kid hits that like 4 or 5 and they don't really ride in the stroller much, they're like, oh, we don't need a stroller. My kid doesn't really ride in one anymore. Save yourself the hassle and just bring it. The ease of having a place, for your little to sit down, a basket to store all the random things they acquire throughout the day. For me, a cup holder that will hold my drink and I can have my Starbucks just nice and easy access. It's something that truly, if your kid is second grade or younger, bring a stroller. It will just save your vacation from so many meltdowns, so much hassle. And especially if you're traveling by yourself with your kids, it's that second set of hands that you just wish you had. So for me, that is my absolute number one thing to bring. As far as like some of the other, sleep items and things like that, it really depends on your kid and what they need. My daughter really likes to have a stuffy from home. And if I don't bring a stuffy from home, I will be purchasing one in the gift shop the very first night because she likes that comfort of sleeping with a stuffy. And if you have, a kiddo that really likes the white noise or something like that, we travel with our white noise machine just for convenience. Disney specifically they do have like the Hey Disney Alexas in there that have, some nighttime music and lullabies and things like that too, if you don't want to pack that, but I just know for ease of getting around, stroller, and for night times, the things that will give your kids comfort in a place that's not their own home, those are kind of our two biggest ones that we always make sure we bring.
Haley, what about you?
100% the stroller. Always.
The stroller.
Always. If they fit, they sit. Like,
If they fit, they sit.
I don't care how they are. If they fit, they sit. Like,
You're 14. Get back in that stroller.
yes. And then also one of my favorite things to travel with when my kids were smaller, it's not so much now, but especially helpful when they were babies, is the slumber pod. Especially in a hotel room when you're sharing a room with your kids when normally you don't share a room with your kids. It's I don't know if you've seen the slumber pod before, but it's literally like a blackout tent and it just goes straight over the pack and play. You zip it up and it's like they're in their own dark, cozy little cocoon, and it's perfect.
I need
They
a
make
slumber
them for
pod.
adults?
I was
Right.
because I love it pitch black, and sometimes you're in hotel rooms and it doesn't get dark enough. I need one of those.
Yep. And then the only other thing that I think to add is a lot of patience. Lots of patience.
Pack your patience.
Yes. Yes.
And if you're going to Disney, Haley had the funniest post on her Instagram, I think it was today, about the toddler, what did you call it? Like the
entry cost.
Entry fee. Yeah, it was the entry cost.
The bubble wand.
If you don't bring a bubble wand, you're buying a bubble wand. If you go to
yes.
Disney with a toddler, just forewarning. If you can pack one, bring it yourself. But if you don't, you are buying one.
We've talked about bubble wands on this show before. Like, they're a big deal. I don't think people realize you're
yeah.
getting a bubble wand.
Yeah, you're doing it for certain.
So I'll field this question to Haley first. What are your best strategies for keeping kids entertained during long flights or road trips or lengthy airport waits?
Always the iPad. There are no rules when it comes to flying. Lollipops at 10 a.m. That's fine.
Yes.
iPad for a 3-hour flight. That's fine. I'm not like super strict on screen time with my kids, but they just don't use their iPads at home. They watch TV, but they just don't have iPads. But when we travel, iPads.
Mhm.
But also just anything like new or exciting, like anything little toys, anything they haven't seen before. It's just always so much more exciting when you're like, oh, look at this new toy I got you. And it's just like a little fidget toy or little magnetic
Hmm.
cubes. And also anything Melissa and Doug. Melissa and Doug makes the most amazing travel toys. They have like the little water wow pens. They have little like, coloring books that the markers only color on special paper. So anything Melissa and Doug is like perfect to just like hand them back in the back seat or on the airplane. So,
Have you tried their little stamp stickers yet?
oh yeah.
Oh, we're big on those right now. Is the stamp stickers for sure. I just was going to piggyback off her a little bit too. iPad. I know it's like it's one of those taboo subjects that you're not supposed to like
Yeah.
say out loud that you give your kid a screen. But my daughter's the same way. We watch movies at home and things like that every now and then, but like she doesn't get her iPad when she is in the confines of the house ever. She does not get to play it. She doesn't get to touch it. And when we travel, if she asks for it, there you go, babe. It's all you.
Mhm.
Go for it. Because it's one of those things that I feel like got kind of taboo from like a handful of social media people just saying, oh, screen time is bad for your kids, which I don't disagree with, but also that's a very different environment for them where there's a lot going on, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of fears, nerves, anxieties, and the glory of the iPad is that it is that new thing, the games, the different things they can do on it. It's constantly changing and it's constantly new. So rather than packing a backpack full of new toys, which is an option if you are someone that's adamant my kid is not getting a screen, that's fine. Be prepared to bring a backpack full of toys that they've never seen before and you'll keep them entertained. But just anything that'll pique their interest that they haven't seen before, or even I like to rotate my travel toys where she has some in a bin she hasn't seen in like a month and she'll go, Mommy, look at all these new toys I have. I'm like, yeah, those weren't in there a month ago. Um, but the truth is, if you bring that backpack, be prepared that all of the great toys you picked out that your child is going to love, they're going to pick up the one that you spent $30 on and they're going to play with it for 10 seconds and then ask for the painter's tape back. Because that's just what happens. So, and I think for a lot of younger toddler age kids, food, bring the snacks, bring like Haley said, you want a lollipop at 10 in the morning? There you go. It's all you, girl. But I always bring like a few little bags of chips, or I bring some candies, or I bring muffins, or just stuff that I know she really likes, like snacks I would never feed her as a meal, but I know she loves, like girl loves some veggie straws. So if I pull those out, she's like, yes, Mom, thank you. You're in survival mode, especially in the airport. It's airport and airplane. It's survive.
There's no rules.
No,
Anything goes.
no, none at all.
We also will like go to the store in the airport before we get on the airplane. I always let them each pick out a snack. And like I told them they're not allowed to have the snack until the plane is in the air, because we've been on the taxiway more times than I can count, thinking we're going to take off and then we don't. So they always pick out their own special snack too, and that works well too.
It's a good idea. I'm going to try that one.
That's what I do for myself also. I go pick out a special snack.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
Oh, man.
Okay, so this one's for Liz. We know that theme park vacations typically come with long, long, long waits in line. So, Liz, when you're at a theme park, do you have any hacks for keeping kids entertained while you're waiting in those lines?
So I think we have a few, but I'm going to let Haley take this one actually, because Haley's line hacks might be the most brilliant things I've ever seen. So
I have to hear this.
I'm gonna defer my answer to let Haley rock it, because her bag of wonders is it's something else. It's
I'm
next
so
level.
excited.
Well,
I'm
listen.
like, should I get a pen and paper out right now and write this down? I feel like I'm in a lecture hall. All right, hold on. All right, I'm focused. I'm zeroed in. Let's do this.
Well, I'm going to start this by saying like lightning lane. Like we don't wait in lines.
Yeah.
That's my hack for long lines, is just not to wait in them, honestly.
Line. What do you mean line? What?
The longest line line that we'll wait in is, our lightning lane line. No, but one of my kids' favorite things in line are those little sticker sheets, specifically the ones that are like make a face. So it comes with like a blank Elsa face and like her eyes, and you like put her eyes on and her nose, and you like make a face. That's one of their favorite things. Anything with stickers. I have a lot of stickers in my bag, and also snacks. Lots of like little. Also a good time for lollipops or fruit snacks or something like that. And what else? We like to play I Spy in line. That's a good one now that my kids are like 3 and 5. They're really into I Spy. But one I think the most fun things to do is to like make friends with the people around you. And I feel like that's something Liz is very good at. But especially if you have like little kids that are close by in line with you, I always keep lots of sticker sheets. So I'll hand them out to a couple of the kids around us, then like instantly besties. And then it's like a win-win. They entertain my kids entertain their kids, and everyone's happy. So
That's
A little bit.
awesome.
I'm telling you, her bag. I watched this in action once and went, that is the most brilliant Disney hack. It's just a bag full of stickers, and the kids they went nuts. Every kid that saw it loved it. They were like, "I want stickers! I want stickers!" Brilliant. It's brilliant.
Is it like a Mary Poppins bag of never-ending stickers? She's
Just
just
full of stickers.
love stickers.
I love that.
Yeah, I think the like making friends, especially if there are kids around you, and at Disney, there's almost always kids around you. I think we were waiting for the Beauty and the Beast show. I think that was one that Haley and I did together, and they were like running in and out of like ducking under the gates together, and they were like, looking in and out of the fireplace and looking out the windows together. Like it just became a game for like 6 of these kids, just all goofing off, and if you're traveling solo with your kid, it's another mom, because who better to watch your kid than another mom, even if it's a mom you've never met. They're going to take as much care watching your child as they do their own, because it's the mom gene. You can't help it.
Yeah. Okay, pack a never-ending bag of stickers. Noted.
Mary Poppins sticker and snack bag. Absolutely.
So let's talk about hotels. In previous episodes, we have mentioned things like transportation and pools, recreation, and location being big deals when you're selecting a hotel. So Haley, what are your non-negotiables for when it comes to selecting a hotel and booking a resort for your family?
Always transportation. Always. I travel a lot by myself with the 2 kids, so it's not like I have a husband to carry the stroller onto the bus. I'm the one carrying the stroller, the kids, the bags. It's lots of things. So I will do literally anything to not have to fold my stroller. That 20-minute walk from Hollywood Studios to Beach Club, 25, whatever it is, I will happily walk our little stroller, kids in the stroller, and walk us from Hollywood Studios all the way to Beach Club or wherever. I will do anything to not have to fold my stroller. So transportation. It's, if I think we're going to be spending most of our time at Epcot Hollywood Studios, I'll stay at one of those 3 resorts. And if I think we're going to have a Magic Kingdom heavy trip, I'll stay at one of those. Most ideal is a split stay between the 2. Do your Magic Kingdom days over in Magic Kingdom Resort, and then do your Hollywood Studio Epcot days over at one of those resorts. I do care about the pool and the splash pad too, but that's heavily dependent on the season. If I think, if it's the summertime, I maybe will lean towards a better pool, but I would still prioritize transportation always.
What about you, Liz?
So for my family, transportation is a must. We talked about it in our previous episode that I'm a little bougie when it comes to transportation. Like Haley said, if I have to fold my stroller, it's probably a no-go. Especially being a Florida local, if I'm going to have to fold my stroller, I'm probably going to fold it, put it in my car, and I'm going home, because I'm not doing it. For us, when it's not always possible, and it's obviously depends on your budget and what's available, but we really like to stay at resorts that have a separate space of some kind. It might be the family suites at Art of Animation where there's that separate bedroom. It might be a 1-bedroom suite somewhere at one of the resorts. We recently did the cottages at Boardwalk, and it was really nice having that upstairs and downstairs area, and if we can't make that happen, then if we're traveling with our daughter, we always book we have to have a balcony in our room. If we travel with her, I need at least a balcony, because I need to be able to get away from my child for a hot second. I love her more than the earth, more than anything in this world, but mama needs a break sometimes, you know, and when you travel, especially when you do solo travel, which I do a lot with my daughter as well, you don't get that escape ever where you are on mom duty 24 hours a day. So even if I'm just booking a room with a balcony, if I can just go sit out there, like put her to bed, sit out there in the quiet and just, you know, have a glass of wine or read a book or watch fireworks or whatever it is, that little separation goes a long way in saving my sanity for the whole trip too.
So most trips come with an itinerary. And I know that it can be a little bit challenging to stick to an itinerary sometimes when you have kids with you. So Liz, how can families balance seeing and doing as much as possible while they're on vacation while still respecting their children's routines, nap schedules, and energy levels?
I think the first big thing is just keep your expectations a little lower, that you're not going to get to see and do everything on your trip. I think a lot of people go into any vacation, not just a Walt Disney World vacation, but really any family vacation with these, we're going to call them delusions of grandeur, that every minute of every day is going to be planned and plotted. And if it's at Walt Disney World, we're going to ride every single ride at Magic Kingdom and it's going to be the best day ever. And in reality, that's just not realistic for life. When you're traveling with kids, they get tired, they get hungry. They don't care that you spent $18,000 on this trip because they're tired and they want to be done for the day. So you kind of have to set this understanding that you really have to let your kids and your family kind of guide the journey. You can have this loose itinerary in mind, but you have to kind of go with their vibe and what they're feeling. And we've seen families time and time again push their families and their kids into like, come on, we're making it to fireworks. We're making it to this. They're dragging one kid on the ground, the other kid's screaming, and then the third one's passed out in the stroller. Like, and they're just trying to force these memories rather than just say, you know what, we had a great day and this is fun. Just really focus on living in the moment of your trip, little by little, hour by hour, and don't look at it as a whole, but look at it in pieces and just enjoy and cherish the pieces as they come.
That's good advice. That's really good. What about you, Haley?
That's really good. I was going to say midday breaks. That's like my go-to for keeping, people fed. Really just keeping everyone fed and rested, whether that requires a midday nap or making sure you have like a sit-down lunch or a sit-down dinner of some kind to get that like rest built in. My kids don't nap anymore, but we still typically go back to the resort for like a midday pool break. And I know that like going to the pool doesn't really sound like a break, but it is still like, we're not like running from here to here to here. We're just all in one spot and kind of like relaxing, whether it's actually just me watching my children go down the slide a million times. But, that still counts as like our midday rest. And it kind of, is a little, my kids are excited to do it. And then sometimes if we're up to it, we'll go back out to the park in the evenings. But it's, exactly what Liz said. It's really just taking their lead and seeing if, they want to go back and, that and lightning lane.
Yeah. Lightning lane, lightning lane, lightning lane.
How many times did we say that last week?
I mean, just especially with the kids,
Yeah.
No one wants to wait in long lines with kids.
Yeah.
Don't do it. There's no point. None.
But that's the secret to like getting more done in what little bit of a day that like, especially if you're breaking it up and going back for a break, getting that lightning lane in the morning, it helps you get more done.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And that's such a bonus of using an agent, especially when you work with an agent from an agency like ours, where so many of us have kids and we travel with kids. And even though, Ashlyn doesn't have kids, she has a literal encyclopedia of mamas who have traveled with their kids where she can say, hey, I have a client that has these kids and, we want to do this, this, and this. What do you recommend? And I mean, we'll sit down with her and just go, hey, this is what you should have them do. Boom, done. So it's, it's just another reason number 297, you should use a travel agent.
Let's drive that one home too. Memory maker, lightning lane, travel agent.
Those are the three. Let's change the name of the show.
So, Haley, you kind of touched on this a little bit, so that segues us into the next question pretty well. What are some ways to prevent meltdowns or to handle them when they happen in public spaces on vacation?
Similar answers, keeping everybody
Yeah.
fed and rested and midday naps. That's also when I pull out my lollipops and sticker sheets, honestly. Mid meltdown. I'm like, oh, what about this Spider-Man sticker sheet I have in my bag here? Then I'm not above a little bribery, especially at
I was
Disney.
I was
Uh,
just gonna say, so bribery goes a long way, is what you're saying.
100%. I'm like, we still, we did forget to pack your stuffy. So how about, after this, we'll head over to the Emporium and buy a new stuffy. And it's something I would have ended up buying anyways. So I kind of like, helps us get out of the meltdowns a little easier, but really preventing the meltdowns. Meltdowns are just unavoidable, especially at a place like Disney where everyone's overstimulated and overtired and probably a little hungry. So lots of snacks, keeping people fed, and just doing our best to take little breaks here and there. And even if you're not taking like a midday break, just sneaking in the small breaks here and there, like, grab a coffee, sit down on the hub grass for 10 minutes. And, the kids aren't sitting, they're like running around, but they're having the best time. And that kind of like, gives them a little second wind. So stuff like that really helps with the meltdowns.
And yeah, for my daughter, it's, when she has those moments, it's almost always from hunger, overtired, or overstimulated. It's one of the three. And there are lots of very quiet, off the beaten path places in Walt Disney World, no matter where you are. We love using the baby care centers in all the parks. So every park has a designated baby care center that is meant for young children. There's a diaper change area. There's a room to nurse your child. There is like a smaller bathroom that you can go in. They have places to warm up bottles. They sell basically anything you could need for a kid under the age of 5. They've always got like a movie playing. And there are times where if it's really like, it's hot or we're just run down, we'll run in there and we'll just sit and eat some snacks in front of the little TV and watch Alice in Wonderland while eating some snacks. And it just kind of settles them a little from the outside world. Because yes, there's people coming in and out, but now they're focused on this other group of kids watching TV and their snack or whatever. So those baby care centers, if you have kids and you haven't checked them out, they're phenomenal. They're wonderful. They will save you from a completely epic meltdown and maybe just make it kind of a mini meltdown instead, or no meltdown at all. So those are clutch.
Those are clutch. And this also kind of piggybacking off of this line of questioning here, let's talk a little bit about overstimulation. We can take the kids back to the room to have a nap. We can find a little quiet space. Are there any other tips for avoiding overstimulation, specifically in a place like Disney World where it's loud and crowded and hot? Haley, do you have anything to add?
My son in particular is pretty noise sensitive. He gets pretty overwhelmed by loud noises. So for him, noise canceling headphones really help him with the overstimulation. I mean, he mostly wears them for rides and stuff, but occasionally I can tell when he's like had a bit much and he needs like just a calm, quiet, collected moment in the stroller. The noise canceling headphones work really well for that. And then as Liz said, just finding like a little quiet corner really helps with the overstimulation, just for anybody really. I'll go to Starbucks first, get a coffee for me to help with my overstimulation, and then we'll find a little quiet shady spot, or we'll go to Carousel of Progress, or lots of like quiet little shaded corners to find that help us with overstimulation.
Yeah, we've talked about Carousel of Progress and rides and shows like that where you can go put your feet up for 15, 20, 30 minutes and not move, and it's air conditioned and it's very calming in there. So I imagine that's great for kids as well.
Definitely.
So before we say bye to Haley, though, I thought of a question that we didn't include. I'm going to hit you with it and you aren't ready.
Ooh.
So Haley does just great trips with her kids. And I swear it's like once a month she's going on these awesome trips with her kids. So
Yeah.
if you had to pick the one trip with your kids, like the one type of trip or one place, destination that you would say, if I'm traveling with kids and I'm nervous about traveling with kids, this is the end all be all best trip to do with young kids, what would it be?
I mean, Disney, right? Or
Gotta be
are we choosing
specific
Disney
though.
specifically,
Now,
or
anything at all. What is the end all be all kid trip?
I mean, it's definitely Disney. So, before I started taking my kids to Disney as much as we would go, I would go to Georgia a lot to visit my family. And I realized after taking them by myself to Georgia and also taking them by myself to Disney, people say like, "Oh my gosh, are you crazy? You take your kids to Disney by yourself?" And I tell them it's easier than taking them to Target by myself. Like it's endless entertainment for them. And honestly, traveling to Georgia with them versus traveling to Disney with them, Disney is so much easier. The hotels are made for them. The parks are made for them. I don't have to bring my own bed rails. I don't have to bring my own, pack and plays. Everything is there, and it's made for moms with families and kids.
Yeah.
So, it's easier to take my kids by myself to Disney than it is anywhere else. And, yes, we have like our moments that are harder by myself than it would be with another adult there, like the bus. But I will say, especially when my kids were smaller, I would have one in like the carrier and then, the other one kind of walking, and I would like have the stroller and have the baby in the carrier. And so many times people are like so kind and they offer to help me. I don't always guarantee on people helping me, but it's happened a lot of times. And, you don't really find that anywhere else. You're not going to be like on a bus in New York City and someone's saying, "Hey, let me get that stroller for you." Like, if so, they're like taking off with it. So it's just different. Like going to Disney by myself with the kids, it's so much easier than going anywhere else. And then on a whole other level is the Disney Cruise Line. By the way, they like cater to you so much there. You can sit back and eat your dinner and drink your wine, and the waiter will cut your kids' pizza into like 10 tiny little pieces. So, and then you send your kids off to the kids' club and then go relax in the adults area. So that's like its own level. But it did take me a while to like kind of work up to that because, being in the middle of the ocean by yourself with two small children is a little bit more nerve wracking than, being in Disney. But definitely taking them to
I would
Disney.
agree with that.
Yeah. Disney's just so safe and clean too. So that's just a whole other layer of, comfortability to have with that when you're traveling with kids.
Yeah. And we've had our hiccups here and there. Like we've gotten stitches visiting Disney before, and we've visited more urgent cares than we care to, but it's because we're there so much and my daughter's very accident prone. But you know what? I will say, like, when we were there like a month or so ago, we were getting off the Donald ride, the Three Caballeros, and she wasn't watching where she was walking, and she bumped right into this handrail and like bumped her head pretty hard. And I was like, "Oh, let's go to first aid and just get you an ice pack." But we went to first aid and they did like a full neuro exam on her. They did I was like, "We just want an ice pack." And they're like, "No, let me check her out completely." And they did. They checked her out completely, asked where you were staying, called later to check on us. Like, it's different. It's different than just going anywhere else.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we have time for with our special guest segment. Haley, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and we hope you'll come back and see us again very soon.
Thanks for having me.
And I get to see Haley in like a month. I'm so excited.
So excited.
Our kids are going to have a play date at Disney because where else would they have a play date? And I'm so excited.
The best play dates.
Jealous. I'm so jealous.
Who play dates with their kids at Disney? Haley and Liz.
With an endless bag of stickers.
Endless bag of stickers.
I'll have my stickers.
Oh, yes.
All right. Thanks, Haley.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh,
She's
that was so
awesome.
fun chatting with her.
I know.
Oh, she's the best.
She's a pro. I cannot believe how frequently she travels alone with her kids.
I know.
She just nails it. She's so good at it.
In a few weeks, she's I think she's going on the Wish, and then she's staying at Disney after to fly home in a couple days later. And it's the same weekend I happen to be there for the training. So she goes, "Oh, you want to just bring Quinn over and we can have a play date?" And I was like, "Yep,
Yep.
sure do.
Absolutely.
A play date at Disney, done."
Yes.
So yeah, but she's pretty great. So I hope you learned something. Hope you have ideas in your notebook.
I learned so much. I'm going to be re-listening to this podcast over and over and over again, especially as soon as I find out we're pregnant. I'm coming right back to this podcast.
Yeah, and then it'll be okay. So which stroller, which carrier,
Yes.
which ones did you buy?
Yeah,
That's a whole nother episode.
Hey, guess what?
What?
It's time for Magic Mailbag.
Magical mailbag.
Ooh.
We don't have our raspy cold voices for that anymore.
Oh, I know.
It was glorious.
We don't sound like sultry jazz singers anymore.
Oh, nuts.
It is Magic Mailbag time, where we answer the questions you've sent to us via DM on Instagram. And question number 1 is for Liz. This is from Christian M in South Carolina. And this could ruffle some feathers. As a matter of fact, I know it's going to ruffle some feathers. He asks, what is your take on the water parks at Disney World? And he also added, to me, they are better than Animal Kingdom.
Christian, you're on my level. You're on my level. No. So the funny thing is, I just went to the water parks at Disney for the first time last year. I just had, because I live in Florida and there are endless supplies of water recreation
Everywhere.
right. It just never made sense for me to purchase water park tickets to go to Disney water parks. So I just never had been. So then last year, and also this summer, they're doing it again. They did the free water park on check-in day. And so I took advantage of it because I'd never been. And I like water parks. You know, I like water slides, and I love a good wave pool. I love a good wave pool. So I actually went. I got to go to Typhoon Lagoon, and I got to go to Blizzard Beach. And Christian, I'm going to say I'm on board with you. I think that is a better use of your day if you have to choose between Animal Kingdom or one of the Disney water parks. I really do think it's just a very relaxing and enjoyable day. And here's why. So first of all, when you go to the water park, you can bring like snacks and things like that in. So you can keep your spending to a minimum if you want. They let you bring in, you know, like lunch boxes with food and stuff like that. And so when we did it, we got there about right around lunchtime. We had lunch and then we went. And for us, it was glorious because we put all of our stuff in a locker, everything, except for we had those little like waterproof lanyards for our phones, and we had water shoes. That is it. That was the extent of what we had for everything we were carrying around, you know, and we had such a relaxing day. We played in the wave pool for a little bit. We did some of the water slides, and I don't personally love like the big water slides where you know, come off and you have to like pull your suit out. And I don't love those. But they have so many fun ones with like the big inner tubes, and you can kind of coast. And then let me tell you about the lazy rivers at Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach. So if you are patient enough, you can get yourself a little hammock inner tube in those lazy rivers where you're just chilling, sitting in that river. And it's not a fast lazy river. It is the definition of lazy river, where you're just relaxing, just kind of coasting down around the water park. And it was so relaxing. You know, I went with my daughter, and they have complimentary life jackets. So I put a life jacket on her. She sat on my lap on this floating tube, and then every now and then she'd jump off my lap and she'd swim around in the lazy river. Then she'd get back on. And they have like areas for little kids to play. I just think, I'm still going to say the same thing I said last week. If you can go to all 4 parks, go to all 4 parks. However, if you have maybe less time, or you're looking to save a little money, especially if you go this summer during the free water park, absolutely go to a water park, use that free ticket, skip Animal Kingdom if that's the one that doesn't, you know, pique your interest, which that's how I feel. I think it can be such a great use of your day and so relaxing. And for us, it's such a fun, relaxing way to start your vacation, because I don't think I felt stressed for even a second at that water park. Like, it was the first time I went to Typhoon, I got stressed for about 10 minutes because I was like, I can't find a chair anywhere. There's no chairs. They're all taken. And then I realized, what do I need a chair for?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go get in the water. I'm good. Yeah. I put all my stuff in a locker and got in the water. And once I got over that hump of needing a chair, It was a very, very relaxing way. So, Christian, if you want to skip Animal Kingdom and go to a water park, you have my approval. You don't have Ashlyn's, but you have mine.
I need to rebuttal just very briefly. Because justice for Animal Kingdom, okay? Animal Kingdom gets so much flack, and I love it so much. I'm also, to be fair, I am not a water park person because germs, and I know Disney's like super clean and chlorine and all of that jazz, and it's, it's all great, but I just feel like I am swimming in people soup. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I will say I do love a lazy river. But for me, I would rather be at like my hotel pool than at one of the water parks. I do love Typhoon Lagoon. Typhoon Lagoon is definitely, if I'm picking between the two, Typhoon Lagoon is my go-to. I don't know that I would go to a water park in lieu of Animal Kingdom. If you have an extra day to do a water park, do it. And it can be a very relaxing thing too. It really can be. And I do love a lazy river, I have to say, but
Love it.
I just don't know that I don't think that they're better than Animal Kingdom. And that's all I have to say about that.
Hey, I never said they're better. I said if you have to give up something,
Yeah.
I would give up Animal Kingdom. Well, and not just because Animal Kingdom's at the bottom of my 4-park list, but also if it's free versus having to pay for it, I'm a taking free.
Yeah.
So we got another question though. So you get a question too.
Oh, yay.
Yay. So this is from Todd S. in Texas. We're considering annual passes to Disney World. At what point does an annual pass start paying for itself and make sense to buy?
So I generally say if you're going to spend at least 2 weeks in the parks per year, then they're worth it. Like if you are doing 14 park days per year, that's when they start paying for themselves. And there's also a lot of pluses to having an annual pass. Annual pass holders occasionally get access to exclusive promotions, which of course is a plus. Now, it's not a guarantee, so definitely don't go buy an annual pass specifically because you think you're going to get a discount on rooms, because that's not always the case. It does happen. There's actually currently a phenomenal annual pass holder discount on rooms at Disney World, but that's not 100% of the time. That's not going to happen. And then, of course, a big perk with an annual pass is that you just get loads and loads of discounts on dining and shopping around Disney World. And you can save up to like 20% at some locations. So you are saving a good chunk of change on things that you're already going to be buying around the parks as well, like food and merchandise. And you get special exclusive merchandise if you're a pass holder. So there's that as well. And then you can also save money on things like golfing and Cirque du Soleil tickets at Disney Springs. So an annual pass can be a big money saver if you are going to be a frequent visitor at Disney World, and if you're going to be spending at least like 2 full weeks of park days, then I would say go for it.
And I would say, just to add on to that, if you are out of state, you have to remember as well, your annual pass option is only Disney's top tier annual pass. So you do not even have, like me being a Florida resident, there are four different annual passes I can purchase, ranging everywhere from like $500 for the year all the way up to the Incredipass.
Yeah.
That's like $1,600.
$1,625, something like
gosh.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. See, my annual pass is half that. So it's, if you're out of state, it's like Ashlyn said, you really have to make sure not only are you, you know, you like to go to the parks or you plan on going to the parks a lot, you have to have at least 2 trips in mind that I'm definitely going on these 2 trips. Otherwise you fall into that kind of rut of, I bought it because I thought we'd be going more and then you don't. So, and if you're out of state also, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're out of state, you have to pay it in full up front, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Florida, they have a payment plan. You can pay monthly, which is why a lot of Florida residents get them. But if you're out of state, you're forking over all that money right away. But the other thing is too, if you take a trip, let's say you go on, you know, a 10-day trip and you have 10-day park hopper passes and you're like, I love this. I want to let it ride. I want more. I know I'm going to do this again. You can go to guest services before your vacation ends and you can upgrade those tickets and they will apply that amount towards your annual pass as well. So
Specifically, if you're planning on getting a park hopper, if you are a park hopper person, then it that comes into play even more. So that's all the time we have for today. Well, this just flew by. It's been such a fun time. Be sure to follow and subscribe to Dreams and Destinations on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Remember, new episodes drop every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come back and see us next week. You hear?
And make sure, if you don't already, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Dreams and Destinations. And don't forget to follow A Dream and a Wish Travel Co. on social media, plus Ashlyn and I as well. You can visit our agency's website or any of our Instagrams to request a vacation quote. The links are in the show notes. Thank you, as always, for listening. And don't forget to tune in next week. And we're going to take an in-depth look at all of the Walt Disney World value hotels.
Ooh.
So we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Let dreams and destinations. Stamps in our passports.